Well, hey. Happy Sunday, everyone. This is TU Nap, and I am here with.
Dr. Michael Gross, how are you? Thank you so much for joining us this afternoon. We've got lots of wonderful things we want to share with you. But one of the beautiful things I want to share with you is this book.
Got you first.
You always did that to me when we were brother and sister.
Well, we still are in a way.
Yeah, we are.
Yeah.
Well, we were much younger.
I'm always going to be younger than you.
Yes, you were and are.
Okay. Bottom line, here we are. We have a wonderful message for you, Michael does. And I wanted to just let you know that Michael is the author of The Spiritual Primer. Best dang book I've ever read.
And TU is the author of this book, Healing the Holes in Your Soul. What a wonderful, beautiful book about a woman who overcame fear, doubt, insecurity, which boiled down to low self-worth, low self-love, and low self-esteem, and found it deep within her soul, and now has been resurrected, come forth like the beautiful phoenix that rose from the ashes.
Oh, you know what, Michael? You're always so kind with your words. Thank you so much.
Well, it's the truth.
You know, if it wasn't for this book and this wonderful man, that book would not have happened. And I'm really thrilled that we have this opportunity. Put your book down. Books down.
All right.
We have this opportunity to share some powerful messages. What happened, Michael? We blurred. Oh, my goodness.
We're coming back into focus.
Yeah, you know, we don't script these things. We come with a message. We pick a topic. Michael picks the topic. And I'm just more like his sidekick.
Okay, partner.
Yeah, you know, and the reason we do this is we want everyone to know that, you know, our message is sincere. And Michael is incredibly experienced at what he does. And I have the only scripted part of our presentation. Okay. And, you know, we encourage other people to come along and definitely, you know, leave your comments, leave your questions. Contact information that we give will also be in the comments below. And we do this every Sunday for a very, very powerful reason, because Sunday is when we all have an opportunity to sit down for a little bit and set our mindset for the following week.
Absolutely. And, you know, even though she's my sidekick, I have found that in doing this for, well, how long have you been doing it now?
A little over a year.
A little over a year. You always add very valuable comments and add more depth to what I have to share with you. So thank you, sis.
You're welcome, my brother. Okay, on that note, with all due respect for your time, we thank you for joining us today. And I'm going to go ahead and read this part, which I always seem to ad-lib lately. I don't know what's going on. I have to apologize for our technical stuff, because we are who we are.
That's it.
You know, and, you know, there's no apology for being incredibly unique like we are. Do you like that?
I like that.
Okay. On that note, Dr. Michael Gross is an author, professional keynote speaker, transformational coach, and an entrepreneur. For more than 3 decades, he has been on a spiritual path as an intuitive, a healer, a spiritual counselor, and an incredible teacher.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Through the guidance of spirit, Michael has assisted others in their personal quest for self-empowerment. Sorry. See, he also taught me how to get my laughter back. I got way too serious when I first met him, and now it's like, what's with you? So anyway, I think I'm going to start that sentence again. Through the guidance of spirit, Michael has assisted others in their personal quest for self-empowerment, helping them to create the lives that they have long sought and to bring forth their intuitive abilities. Michael currently teaches classes in spirituality, self-empowerment, Reiki, and other modalities. In concert with God, the true source, he has also achieved great success and miraculous healings, and he remains humble, knowing that the work that he does all comes from God, the true source. So Michael lives in Lakewood, Washington, and he has recently launched his nonprofit, and I'm going to go ahead and let him give you a little information on the nonprofit.
And yes, it's a 5013C, and it's called the International Institute of Self-Empowerment. One of my missions and goals to help everyone learn about self-worth, self-love, and self-esteem. And in working with TU, Spirit said to form a nonprofit. And I went, okay. I don't argue like many other people and debate whatever's going on because I've learned better. And I'll tell you a little bit about that later. But in working with TU, I realized that there was something very important. And we're going to be tackling three major issues, probably more as time goes by. But the first one is to work with abused women, children, and men. And I didn't realize how much in depth it has been or was. And it's probably been going on forever since we've been.
Since the dawn of time.
Yeah, since the dawn of time.
Probably.
And because I relived some of the experiences that TU had vicariously through her writing and sharing it through her tears and the beautiful soul she is, I decided that'll be a first project. And she's the director of abuse, which is very, very important. So together we act as a team to make the International Institute self-empowerment very, very valuable. And again, since we're a 501(c), you're looking for anytime you want to donate money, and you know what happened, you can write it off on your taxes, it's there. And like we said before, things are a little bit slower than I had hoped, but we're working on our logo, we're working on our website, and I'm told by others who we're talking to that we're moving at the speed of light. And I went, really? And he told me there are some that have been in the works for 5 and 10 years and still haven't done anything. So I guess we're pretty proud. It's been about 3 or 4 months since we've got our official designation. Anyway, you'll be hearing more about it, and we'll be talking a lot more about it. But I thank you all for being part of this wonderful program that is listening to us and giving up your valuable time every Sunday. And again, we're looking for some suggestions. And suggestions is 2 o'clock a good time, Pacific time for you? Would you like to see it at 7 p.m. Pacific time? I know that would be 10 o'clock Eastern Standard Time and progressively a little earlier, Mountain Time, Central Time, etc., or like 4 o'clock Pacific time, whatever, and your suggestions. And I would encourage you to bring up any suggestions of anything you'd like us to talk about, because we will designate certain programs, certain podcasts to answering some of your questions. So let me thank you, all of you, for introducing these thoughts to you.
Can I jump in for a second?
You want to jump in?
Yeah, just for a
No,
second.
how about walking in?
No, I don't want to be a walk-in.
Well, okay.
I'm too noisy to be a walk-in. No, what I wanted to say was that all that information that we really, really appreciate you giving us, go ahead and put it in the comments. And if you need to connect with us, our contact information will also be in the comments. So on that note, shall we get to the topic?
Let's do it.
Okay, the topic is your path in life.
Correct.
Oh my gosh, I got it. I remembered. Okay, take it away.
Because we're so extemporaneous and we don't plan anything other than the little introduction we give you, sometimes we're never sure how it's going to come out. But as you know, I am channeling the information from Spirit, from what I call the true source. And my partner over there, as I said, she's channeling some information with me, and we're working together as a team. In talking about your path or pathways into life, there are two things that are going on in your life. We are pre-programmed to think a special way. You know, in my time when I was growing up, I had to finish high school and go on to college. Finishing high school was a big deal because my parents went through the Depression and realized that a lot of children, or a lot of people couldn't finish their education. So that was one of the most important things. And my mother really encouraged me to go to college. And of course, if we know on the educational program, colleges work with big businesses, therefore they design certain educational programs. And if we look at the educational programs of early 60s and 70s, it had to do with computers. And of course, we look at President Kennedy at the time. We wanted to go to the moon because Sputnik, the Russians had beat us there. And it just shows the will of the human people, more or less American people. He said, within a year or less, we'll go there. And we started from scratch. And that's important for us to think about, starting from scratch. Each day of our life, when we're born, we're starting with new beginnings. And now we have to develop a certain path to our life, whatever that may be. So sometimes we are designated or encouraged, or arms are twisted to take a certain path. And I was talking to Tia when she was growing up. And what did your father tell you that a woman could only do?
Ooh, okay. He came old school. My dad came from Estonia, and they were raised old school. And he told me, "What can you do? You're a girl." And right away, I thought, well, I can do anything I want to do. But he said, "No. If you're going to go to college, I will pay you, or I will pay your tuition if you become a nurse or a secretary." And I said to him, as a teenager, I was in high school, and I said, "Dad, I want to be an archaeologist." And he said, "No, I will not pay for you to learn how to dig dirt." And I thought, well, then I'm not going to school. I'm not going to college. And I didn't. And I thought, that was the way that they were taught. They were programmed that, women stay home, have the babies, take care of the household, and the guy goes out, the man goes out, takes care of the job, brings in the money, and that was the way it was back then. He didn't let my mom go to work either for a long time. It took us a long time when after we grew up, that before my mom could actually have his okay to go and do something. So she did work out of the home eventually.
It's pretty amazing how things were when Tia and I were growing up. My adopted surrogate son, which is Patrick Snow, a great book coach, little plug there, adopted me as his father after his father passed away. And his joke is, well, Michael, you've been around a long time, so how was it to vote for Abraham Lincoln? And I told him it was really great, but George Washington was a little bit of a challenge. But if we look at how much our pathways have changed when Tia grew up and I grew up, and then we went through all the women's lib movements and equality, which should have happened, so on and so forth. And it did, and then diversity and everything that's going on. So a lot of things that happened was really beautiful. The reason I chose to talk about the pathways, actually, I did in True Source Set to speak about that, was that there are two paths for us. One of them is those influenced by our family, friends, relatives, and the other one is by our soul. So if we look at family, friends, relatives, we're influenced, and it's the ego. And that's so important for us to realize. Ego, EGO, you've heard this before, meaning edging God out. And then your path in life, you have already designed your life. And by that I mean, believe it or not, before you've ever incarnated, you chose your family, friends, relatives, you agreed to be host to children, you agreed to do certain missions and goals, family, friends, relatives, career, also on a spiritual basis, and you chose to have one or two or three or multiple marriages or whatever. That's some of your path. So if you look at that and you say, well, I had multiple marriages or whatever, it's because you chose to bring into conclusion certain relationships from past lives that were left incomplete. Maybe someone died, maybe there was a war, maybe someone got murdered, maybe there was some blizzard and someone froze to death, whatever it is. It's a myriad of reasons. I want to set that aside, but I want to leave that as the background. And what I'd like for all of you to understand when we're talking about your path, your soul knows exactly what your path is. And when we as individuals go against what we've set up, we have sometimes temporary success, keyword sometimes. And other times, we may have a lot of success and everything comes to a halt. Like, what I do wrong? Everything falls apart. And that's because you're not following your path that you designed with your soul to accomplish in this lifetime. So many people have run into brick walls, figuratively speaking, meaning they did well, and all of a sudden things came to a halt. But perhaps They couldn't get started, or perhaps they didn't know what direction to go into. And everybody kind of chuckles at one of my wonderful cliches, and that is, if you don't know where you're going, you can't get lost.
I love that one.
And you know, if you look at my resume, and that's not to impress anybody, I've done so many things. Consciously, you know how many were planned? Zero. None of them were planned. They just happened. And that's the fun of life. And I said, well, why did I do all these things? And the answer I got was, because you're going to help so many souls, because that's my mission and goal. You have a lot of expertise in many areas. I don't look at it as expertise. I don't look at it as I know more than anyone else. I look at it as I'm here to help you and guide you. Which comes about, what is Michael's missions and goals? Well, family, friends, relatives. I did that, career, and even what I'm doing now. The same with Tiu, whatever she's doing now. But we are making a difference. And that's what Tiu and I are doing. We are the solution. We're making a difference. So how are we the solution? Tiu, in her being director of abuse, is helping to heal abused women, children, and men. I'm teaching and sharing about self-worth, self-love, and self-esteem. Also sharing that you are the solution to make a difference. But even much more than that, to realize that what is important in our life is to guide each soul to awaken from their illusion of the ego and following the thoughts and energy of the soul to now manifest their missions and goals on a spiritual basis. And that's very, very powerful. I've met so many people of all walks of life, and they come to me at a certain age, usually between 50 and 70, and go, you know, I've accomplished a lot. Now I desire to become spiritual. I want to know what my mission and goal is. And why wait till you're 50 or 60 or 70? Why wait till you're a multimillionaire? You are successful. From the day you were born, you were successful. You know why? Because you wouldn't be here, going through the birth canal, having the fetus form, the energy, the vibrations, the frequency, the miracle of birth, the miracle of the egg and the zygote. That's very special. We kind of take that for granted, but that's a miracle. So each one of you that are watching this, you are a miracle. All of you. And it's time for you to awaken from the slumber and realize that you are the miracle and that you are here to make a difference. Yes, you have family, friends, and relatives. Yes, you have children. But more important, it is time for you to realize that a great shift is coming. And within this great shift, there's a great change coming. And the great change is that your soul is awakening, whether you realize or not. It is time. And that's why I'm dedicating all these wonderful podcasts. And that's what all my missions and goals are. And to you, who we were brother and sister from a past life, and for those of you who don't remember that or don't believe in it, past lives occur. So we keep reincarnating. And in this reincarnation, all of us are here to be part of that shift. That shift means turning this whole planet, all the inhabitants, into unconditionally loving souls. That's my mission and goal, to awaken you. And I take it as an honor and with great, great importance in my life. It is my focus in life. And I want to share this focus with you because each one of you have a very special mission and goal. And each one of you make a difference. And that's so important because you see, as we work together as a team, we awaken many other souls to realize that a great shift is coming. Now, with this pandemic, epidemic, whatever you want to call it that's going on, this is awakening us that there is more to life than just working and earning a living. Well, that's a lot of fun because with the money you earn, you can take vacations, you can buy toys, you can do whatever you want. When I say toys, cars, secondary homes, boats, whatever you so desire. But really, you have to take time, and I want each one of you, after we're through with this podcast, to think about your life. Think about that. Think about what you created, what your epitaph is, what's your path in life, and are you really following your path in life? Many of you have had children because you chose to have children. Some of you didn't have children because you chose not to. Either way, you have chosen to do that before you incarnated. But you know, there's an old cliche, and that is your children are alone, meaning they are only with you for a certain period of time, and then they go off on their own.
I wish someone had told me that long before I had my children. I thought I was going to keep them forever. I mean,
Well, some of us want to do that, and I'd love to do that, but they have to go out and learn their own lessons. They have to explore. They have to have the experiences you have. And look at the experiences you have when you're listening to this. Whatever age you are, I don't care whether we know you're probably not 1 year old or less unless you're sitting with your grandparents or parents, but even that is an experience. And whatever age you are, look at the knowledge you have. Look at the experience you have. And what this world is now becoming is becoming mechanical, or, if you will, losing critical thinking. That's one of my pet thoughts.
Yeah.
Critical thinking and taking responsibility. That's so important. Because everything is an experience unique to you. You and I could have the same identical experience. However, how it applies to us personally may be eons apart, but it's all very empowering because of what we chose to learn. You are here on this planet at this time, in this embodiment, to learn a great deal, but also to be the energy, the vibration, the frequency, to be that soul that brings us back to unconditional love and allowing and non-judgmentalness. No, there's been many, many, many avatars that taught this, directly and indirectly. Krishna, even Plato, I'm sure you haven't read much about him. Even Shakespeare in his own way. And there are many others, including Jesus, that taught it. Buddha, so many others. And we've forgotten about it. And now everything is coming full circle, meaning that it's time to awaken, to pull our heads out of the sand, to say, I am making a difference. I am worthy. Are you worthy? You betcha. You know why you're worthy? Because you wouldn't be watching this right now. You wouldn't be here right now. You are worthy. And when I talk about self-love, self-worth, and self-esteem is how you feel about yourself. It's not being controlling or haughty or manipulative, but realizing that you are a miracle of life and that you are the soul that is opening the doors to others to have the strength to go through life. Because by your actions shall you be known. That's an old cliche, isn't it?
That's an old one.
Yes.
One of the things, I'm going to jump in here a sec. Sorry about that. I was choking on my teeth. Silly me. But, when you say something, like you said, when, let you, how was it? From your actions be known?
By your actions shall you be known.
Right. And what happens a lot of times is that people will say something, but they won't do what they say they're going to do. They say one thing and do something else. Well, when you do that, it sets a tone. It begins to make people wonder, is this person who's telling me this actually blowing smoke? Because honor your word. That's something that I really believe in, that when you say you're going to do something, do it. Or like my mother used to always say, don't promise if you don't intend on keeping it. Because promises should never be broken, right? So you don't promise anything, don't say anything unless you know you're going to honor your word, right?
Right. Good thought. Thank you for sharing that. And this is going to be another 3-part series about self-worth, self-love, and self-esteem. And I want to go back to self-esteem. Really, what do you stand for? Are you pliable, like Jello?
I love Jello. Sorry.
Yeah, reminds me of the old ads. There's always room for Jello, Jello. I know we got off the subject, but really, self-esteem says, what do you stand for? What are you impressionable about? And where are your thoughts? And can I trust you? And you live up to your word? And are you the type of person I can work with? Think about that. How many people do we know that talk out of both sides of their mouth, as Tiu said? They say one thing and do another. Or they may go to their church or place of worship and I'm never going to do this and again. And 3 days later, a day later, they're doing the same thing over again. Well, I'll just ask for forgiveness. And there's nothing wrong with asking for forgiveness, except maybe you ought to think twice when you ask that and then follow through as much as you can.
Well, yeah. I mean, why would why would you confess to something you did wrong and then don't correct it? I mean, we all make mistakes. It's okay to make mistakes. That's how we learn. That's how we learn. But the thing is that if we continue to go down that path, do the same thing over and over again, expecting a different result, that's not right. That's messed up. Because it's like, I learned this one in AA a long time ago, that if you're going down the same road all the time and you know that there's a big manhole down there that they never put the cover over, okay, how many times are you going to fall in that hole? Because you're blindly walking down the road until you finally decide to take another road. Simple choice. It's not, it's a simple choice, but we are so conditioned by habit.
Einstein said, and I'm misquoting, expecting different results doing the same thing over and over. That's a synopsis. Isn't that the truth? So you're following a path that you're stuck with. How long do you want to be stuck? Think about that. Well, who's in charge of your life? Many people say, well, I'm a victim, so they have low self-esteem. There are no victims. You place yourself in the victim role. Now, everything we do is a payoff. So if you eat too much food, you put on weight, right? You don't rest enough, you may have high blood pressure. You abuse your body, your knees, it may bother you or whatever may happen. The serotonin, I have to think this out, the synovial fluid rather, not serotonin in your joints, it's like a lubricant and it begins to wear itself out because you abuse yourself. And the effects of lack of self-esteem because you're unsure. So I want to paint a little more picture before we have to conclude. Self-esteem says you do everything so everyone will look at you and say, wow, you're great, you're wonderful. But if you listen to the thoughts of your soul, self-esteem is, you're not looking for accolades. You're not looking for anybody to say you're wonderful or people look up to you. You're standing for what the soul believes you should stand up for. I said the soul. Not what your ego, not what others are expecting of you. Listen to the thoughts of the soul. Listen and ask, how do I develop and have self-esteem? And how does self-esteem come about in my life? Very simple. When I was growing up, and you heard this before, but I want to reiterate it, and my mother said, Michael, you can do anything. That was part of my self-esteem. Like, yeah, I can do anything. I'll learn how to do everything because I don't know everything, but I'll learn how to do it. And then when I look at my resume and all the things I've done, wow, I just had the self-esteem I could do it and figure it out. Whether I had a mentor, whether I stumbled and fell, or whether I stood straight and walked through it or ran or trotted, I was able to achieve it. Think about that. Who are you? What do you stand for? And are you listening to your path and the thoughts of your soul? We'll continue this series. So I thank you. I know we're running out of time.
Yeah. I'm like, wrap it up, Michael.
All right, well, talking up, and I'll talk really fast. So here we go. Let's go.
He does that
Anyway.
so well. He does that so well. So I'm going to go ahead and, oh, wow. He gave me the floor. And now I'm like, oh, I don't know what to do. Michael does a Tuesday night call-in every Tuesday night. And would you like to share a little bit about your call-in?
Yes, it's from 6:30 Pacific Standard Time to 7:30 Pacific Standard Time. This is so important for you because you can ask any questions on a spiritual basis, and hopefully I'll be able to answer them. And also at the very end, I leave a 10-minute message. There are now 212 10-minute messages. They're very motivational and very, very powerful. I want everyone to understand the reason I'm doing this is to motivate you to understand so that you can follow your path and do your missions and goals.
Perfect. Here's the number, okay? There's a number and an access code, and we will put everything in the comments below. But if you have a pen handy, it's 202-926-1059, and the access code
Is 125-446 pound. I love doing that.
I was going to say that. Okay. One more time, the number is 202-926-1059.
And the access code is 125-446 pound.
I'm going to buy you a bell, and we're going to
All
put it
right.
on top of your head so that you can ring when you say pound. Okay. And the recordings can be accessed 24/7 at this number here. It's 434-300-4170.
And the access code is 125-446 pound. And it starts with number 3, and it goes all the way up to 212.
Michael, we got
I know
blurry.
we're getting a little blurry here.
What happened?
Oh, it's coming back now.
We got blurry. Oh, there we are.
Yep.
Boy, that was something.
High technology, which we know very little of,
We know
So-
about this much.
just enough to screw it up. So anyway, just be patient with us.
We've messed up so many of these.
Yeah.
It's too funny, and we just go with it. Okay, one more time. Enough frivolity. Back to the recording. The number on the recordings is at 434-300-4170. Access code.
125-446 pound. I better not do that too loud because it may go
Shake up
blurry.
the computer. And would you like to go ahead and tell people on the second Saturday what happens?
Absolutely. The second Saturday of every month, I do what it's called a mass consciousness healing, which is so important. And it begins at 9:55 Pacific Standard Time. That's 9:55 a.m. and goes to 11:01 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. And I do a little introduction, and the rest is done in silence. The experiences so many people have had have been incredible. We need the love on this planet. People are being bullied. They're fearful. They're afraid. They're angry. They're upset. They don't know which way to turn. And this will bring about calmness, bring about love, and bring about joy that we need so direly much. And the number is
202-926-1059.
and the access code is the same as the call-in, 125-446 pound.
Okay, one more time. 202-926-1059.
And the access code is 125-446 pound. I'd like to share one other thing that I really believe is important. So bear with me another 2 or 3 minutes. And I mentioned it before, but I believe I have to bring it forth. One of my very dear friends and a client flew me out to Vegas, and I worked with him. And he took me to the Red Sands, he called. Now it was 110 degrees, and we're walking in the Red Sands. Thank goodness my sneakers didn't melt. And It's the petroglyphs where the Anasasis, which is a Native American tribe, and later on the Pueblos lived. And I was looking at all the cuneiforms, what I call, which are messages scratched in the stone and asking what they meant, and I've got some interpretations. And at this point, I felt I had to sit down. Do you ever sit on a rock that's 110 degrees? I had well done buns. But while I was sitting on that, I had closed my eyes, and this Native American medicine man came to me. It was Anasazi. I can't forget this. That was in July. We're talking now many months later. And he had a wolf's cap on. And he said, tell the people that Mother Earth is in dire need. She needs to be respected and loved. And we're going to go through flooding, earth changes, hurricanes, tornadoes, earthquakes, tsunamis, everything is going to be coming up. He didn't say how long. And shortly thereafter, there's been flooding in the southeast United States. New York City had a hurricane. They had flooding in other parts of the world, earthquakes, and up in Alaska and other parts of the world, volcano going off in Tonga, underwater one, Canary Islands, an earthquake, volcanoes, I should say, went off in Tonga, underwater, which flooded part of Tonga, I read, and again, in the Canary Islands, the earthquake, and they also had volcanoes going off in that area, because wherever there's, a volcano going off, you do have an earthquake. There's so many changes coming around, and we all talk about, climate change. And I will tell you, yes, we are contributing to the climate change. More importantly, the major contributor, up in the high 80s to 90%, is the mass consciousness. We affect the weather, we affect Mother Earth, how we feel and how we act, and our anger and our frustration and lack of love. And he indirectly pointed that out to me. And I want to pass that on to you. Please join us in the Mass Consciousness Meditations, the second Saturday of every month, and send love and healing to all the inhabitants on this planet every day, and to Mother Earth, because she is a living, breathing entity. Remember, we're all energy, and energy has an intelligence. So I'll get off my soapbox, and we'll conclude. But I want to thank you for giving me this few minutes to share this with you. All right, here we go. This podcast is brought to you by these two powerful books, Healing the Hole in Your Soul.
And the Spiritual Primer. Whoops, there we go. Oh my goodness, there we go.
And I want to share one thing about the Spiritual Primer. We're going into our second edition, and I'm going to add a little bit about the manifestation protocols, the 12 of them. Should be out in about 6 or 8 weeks, maybe a little sooner, but I wanted to share that. And my goal is, remember, to empower all of you to do your spiritual missions and goals. And this beautiful woman's mission and goal is to, want to share that? I caught her with lack of words. Boy, oh boy, this is the first time.
Yeah, you go ahead then.
Okay.
You can keep going.
To empower abused women, children, and men to find their self-worth, self-love, and self-esteem in their path in life.
Totally got me off guard.
That's all right. I got even with her. She used to always get me in trouble with Mom. So
okay, on that note, we're going to go ahead and thank you all for being here today. We really, really do appreciate your comments and the fact that you come and you visit us on Sunday afternoons. And if there's a better time that would work for you, let us know in the comments below, that we would be happy to consider moving it up a little bit later, Sunday evening or whatever. Okay.
And by the way, maybe a different day too.
Maybe.
We can look at all that.
He's a busy guy, but if we plan ahead, we can get him.
Absolutely.
Right? Okay. On that note, Michael, we got anything else to add?
No, just enjoy your Sunday. Have a great dinner. Spoil yourself with lots of love, and ask for your soul's purpose to put you on the right path. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Namaste.
Namaste. Oh, wait, you forgot something.
You are unlimited. There we go.
See, I have
I
to look
need her,
after
I need her
him.
by my side. Thank you, everyone.
All right, you take care. We'll see you next